So there's a new update coming to Redbubble and it changes things quite massively. And a lot of sellers are very angry because Redbubble, whilst introducing a tier system, will also introduce fees, and these fees are quite big. I know a lot of people have already spoken about this in videos. However, I did get asked what my thoughts on the topic are, and I have just been moving house over the past week, so I didn't have time and I didn't even have internet to really create and upload videos during that time. However, now that I've got my setup slightly finished, like this, there might be an echo because behind me nothing's really done. Things will still change, but I'm able to create videos now. So I'm going to, first of all, quickly walk you through what the tier system is like, what the fees mean, how much will you get charged on your Redbubble earnings with this new fee system, and I will also give you examples as to what happened to my shops where they classed as premium, as pro, or as a standard account. And at the end I will give you my thoughts and tell you what you should do if you're thinking about selling on Redbubble, or if you do have a Redbubble account, should you just close it straight away? Should you even bother trying to sell on Redbubble anymore? All of that will be discussed at the end of the video. So here we are on the new informational page for the account tiers and fees, and I will leave a link to this page in the description, but you can also access it once you're logged in just over here on the left hand side in your menu. This applies from the 1st of May, by the way, which is not very long. They didn't give us much notice, but all the fees and that stuff, it doesn't apply to your current sales and current earnings, but everything starting from 1st of May. And I will now just skim through these different tiers and show you the differences, or the most important differences. If you want a more in-depth walkthrough, I would recommend checking out Juna or Detour Shirt's video. He did a really good job of going through this in detail. I will also just leave that in the description if you're interested. So basically there's 3 new tiers. There's Redbubble Standard, Premium and Pro. And I did do a poll on YouTube to see what people were classified as, just to get an idea as to how strict Redbubble is with giving out these higher tiers. And it turned out that out of 236 votes at the time of recording this, 83% of people got a standard tier, 9% premium and 8% pro. So the majority of people do seem to be getting standard accounts. And first of all, standard account has all the very general stuff that we already had anyway. You can open a free shop, you can be seen by Redbubble's audience of millions of customers, set your own margins, so all very basic. Where it drops off right here in comparison to Premium and Pro, the most important part is the account fee is not applied. So as you can see right here, for the standard tier, there's no tick mark. So only the standard tier has the account fee. If you are classified as Premium or as Pro, then the account fees do not apply to you. One more important thing here is the fan art. So this is really unfortunate, and I feel really sorry for people who were selling fan art or through the Redbubble fan art program and now got classified as standard, because now you're not allowed to sell the artwork anymore, which I think is really unfair. But yeah, so this is only included with Premium and Pro as well. With the Pro feature, you do have some extra bonus things, like you get an account manager, extra marketing, that sort of stuff. So there's just a lot more personalized support and marketing there for your account than on the other lower tiers. Now, if you were assigned the standard tier, you might be wondering, how do I tier up? Like, what do I have to do? And Redbubble did create a page with information on this as well, which I will also link in the description if you want to read through the whole page, check that out. But the important part is right here. To have the best chance of moving into Premium or Pro tier, we recommend the following. So creating based on trends, increasing the commercial success of your designs, driving high quality traffic to your Redbubble store, uploading designs that showcase your unique creative skills, which is very vague, like that could mean 1,000 different things, uploading your best work with attention to image resolution and product formatting. Now, product formatting, they mean if you enable a lot of products, oftentimes a standard t-shirt design doesn't look very good on some other products like the duffel bag, for example. So you have to kind of customize it in that sense and make it suit all of the other products that Redbubble offers, or just turn those off if it is too difficult. Completing your bio and adding links to your social profiles. So essentially having like a good looking shop with a nice branding, a nice banner and social media links, if you do have any, is what they want. Now, in terms of this fact, driving high quality traffic to your store, if you're really good at marketing and increasing the sales of your products, then I wouldn't really recommend doing that to your Redbubble store. I mean, you could do it if it's free marketing and you have access to that anyway. But if you're spending a lot of time on your marketing or a lot of money to pay for ads or whatever, then I would recommend just opening a Shopify store or, I don't know, an Etsy store, just somewhere where you have a bit more control and you can get higher profit potential if you integrate with Printify, Printful, My Designs, something like that. So definitely wouldn't put a lot of effort into driving traffic to Redbubble just to tier up. That's just my opinion. And so check this page out. They go into a bit more depth right here. But essentially it's quite vague. It's not very clear as to how to tier up. Like on Amazon, at least we know the sort of sales levels that we have to reach in order to tier up. I know they're not always very accurate. Like you can reach 10 sales and still have to wait to get tiered up. But at least there's a bit more of guidance and a bit more of a clue as to what we actually have to do. Maybe this will still change in the future. Like maybe they will give more concise requirements for the tier ups. So how do the fees work? Once again, they have a separate page for this, and there's various examples on here as to how the new fee system will work for the standard tier. Basically, on the left hand side right here, you've got the earnings bracket, meaning if you're earning, for example, $5 to $5.99 or euros, pounds, like it doesn't matter which currency, it's always the same. If you're earning $5, then the fee will be $2.30, which is nearly half. And down here it is actually half, $2. You'll get a $1 fee out of those earnings, which is massive, like 50%. If we scroll down further, you kind of notice a pattern where the higher your earnings get, the lower the percentage of the fee they take out. Now that's not to say that the percentage is low, because if we go all the way down to the bottom, $500 or more, if you're making that a month, you are doing pretty well on Redbubble, to be honest. Like I've only ever had that, I think, during Q4 a couple of times, but yeah, throughout the year, that is very rare, I would say, for most people. If you reach that level, then you get charged $92. So that's still a high percentage, a very big chunk of your profit gone essentially, but it is lower than the small earnings, which in my opinion, that is a bit unfair. I would have maybe made it a percentage that applies to all of the earnings, because in this way, you're kind of making it even harder for the people who are starting out, who are earning very small amounts, to even earn anything at all. So you're kind of taking the biggest cut out of the smallest earners. It's almost as if you were taxing the low earners of your population with a really high rate, but all of the rich people running companies, they get taxed a nice small rate, which is really upside down. Well, usually it is the other way around. Obviously, Redbubble earnings are slightly different than tax, but yeah, I just think it's a little bit unfair right there, because the majority of people will have a higher percentage taken out of their earnings. Check out this page if you want to get an exact insight as to what the fees mean. In my opinion, they're really, really high, but you can actually also submit feedback on this fee and tier system, which is something that Juna pointed out in his video, and I think that's really cool, so I wanted to show you as well if you want to provide some feedback to Redbubble. Then you can do that on this survey page, which is also linked in the description because it's a bit hard to find, and essentially here you can first of all say how well you understand the introduction, because it is a bit confusing at first. Then, how satisfied are you with the introduction of account tiers and account fees? So extremely dissatisfied all the way down to extremely satisfied is what you can select, and you can provide feedback down here. This is the important part. So if you want to tell them, and I would recommend doing it in a respectful way, because if you just put hateful stuff into this box, they're probably not going to really care. But if you want to, in a respectful manner, type into this that you don't think this is a good idea, you think the fees are a bit unfair because the majority of people are getting charged way higher fees than the others, that you don't really understand how to tier up properly, whether they can make that more clear, then feel free to add that into here. I'm probably going to do that as well, because the more people provide feedback to show Redbubble that we don't really like this, then the higher the chance that something might change, even if it's just a slight change to make things more clear, or maybe make the fees a little bit more fair. Then you've also got the option to put your Redbubble username into this, but you don't have to, and you can submit the form with this red arrow. So I personally have multiple Redbubble accounts. I have like one main account where I upload a lot of various niches and lots of scalable designs, but I also have some smaller shops with less designs, which are either niche specific, or for example, I've got one shop which is just for pattern designs, where I wanted to make it more branded in a pattern theme. And surprisingly, that shop actually got a premium rating. All of my other shops were marked as standard. Out of all of my shops, the pattern one has the least sales, which is the most confusing part in my opinion. So I think sales don't necessarily have a massive impact into this tier. I also saw a comment on YouTube saying that someone has an account with 0 sales and like 5 designs or something, and they were also classified as premium. So obviously I don't know if that's true, but it seems to be that sales don't really matter that much. It's more about how your shop is branded, how your products are optimized. I suppose maybe that's part of it. I don't think I've ever run any sort of marketing or traffic to this pattern related Redbubble shop, so that definitely didn't play into it. My other main shop with thousands of sales and thousands of likes as well on the products is just a standard account. So I suppose Redbubble has the benefit here of if there is an account that's actually getting sales, they will, with the fees, make more money. So the pattern account, that one is barely ever making me any sales, like a few times a month maybe. But on that one, with the premium account, like, yeah, Redbubble doesn't really lose out on a lot of money because not many sales are happening anyway. So it's a bit confusing, don't get me wrong, but I did want to give you an overview as to what happened to my shops. And I'm also really curious to hear whether you were classified as standard, pro, or premium. So leave that down below in the comments, and maybe also say how many sales you've got on your shop if you feel comfortable with sharing that, because that way we can figure out whether sales have anything to do with it or if that's nothing to do with the tiers at all. So when I asked people on YouTube, on my community feed, what they're going to do now, the majority of them, actually 37% of people, said that they will close their account because of these new changes. And 30% said they will keep their account active, and another 33% said they don't have a Redbubble account. I totally understand why most people are really angry and annoyed and sort of hate Redbubble now and want to close their account. However, I think, in my opinion, you shouldn't really act out of an emotion like hate. You shouldn't base your decision upon that. If you have a Redbubble account that is getting you regular sales, yes, Redbubble is now going to take a bigger cut away from your profits, and that's not fair. It's obviously really annoying, but life is just generally not fair, is it? So I think if you can overcome your feelings, just keep your account active. Who knows, maybe Redbubble will make the fees more fair in future because of all of this negative feedback. Maybe they will make it more clear as to how to tier up, and then it will be easier for you to just level up and get rid of the fees. So just don't jump the gun. It's very early days and a lot of things might still change. I'm not saying they will change, but don't just close the account straight away and lose the opportunity to be part of it in the future if things do get better. Now, in terms of new print-on-demand sellers, if you're completely new to this space, or you're just starting out on Redbubble, I would say it's not really the best platform to start out on anymore, because most people will probably just be assigned a standard tier, and then putting a lot of work into Redbubble, where in my opinion the sales potential is not very high compared to other print-on-demand websites, just to then tier up and maybe get higher earning potentials is not worth it. I usually did recommend Redbubble for beginners because I think the site is fairly easy to understand. The uploader on Redbubble is once again fairly easy to understand and use. The duplicate function is really good, and generally Redbubble just gives you some good practice for print on demand in general. But now I would say if you're a beginner, just avoid Redbubble. I would say go to somewhere like Spreadshirt, to TeePublic, try and get into Amazon merch, of course. Yeah, just ignore Redbubble for now. They do seem to make it harder for artists or designers to sell their stuff on there, and there doesn't seem to be any benefit whatsoever for the seller community with this new update. Like obviously if you have a pro account now, you'll get a dedicated manager and more marketing. Yes, that will benefit you, but for the majority of people, it seems this new change is actually just a disadvantage. And that's not going to be good for Redbubble's reputation, and I totally understand why lots of people now want to close their shop or have already closed. So I'm not saying you can't close your shop. Like if you want to, feel free to, just in my opinion, and this is what I'm going to do as well. I will leave my shops up there. Obviously they will make less money, but I have the hope that things might change in the future. And if they don't, account. Still, it is an extra income stream without really having to do anything. I'm not going to put extra work into Redbubble in order to tier up my accounts, but they will still passively make me income month over month.